We got Teed Up Indoors on Battleground, Football in Focus, trying to get everything in focus here this evening at the Teed Up Indoors. Got a great new sign out front too, and they got the lights on. That sign is beautiful. Davis did a good job. Davis Chalks for selecting that sign, and people put it up. Commend them for the work they did. Got Coach Randy Norris with us. He's been working hard for a lot of years around the county. Coached baseball at Page High School, assistant coach. He was head baseball coach at High Point Andrews. Also coached football at High Point Andrews. He's been the videographer for the Page Pirates, the Asheboro Blue Comets.
Coach receivers at Page.
Coach receivers at Page too, yep. And you did the videography for Thomasville, Asheboro, Page, and where else was Coach Gillespie?
Whatever he needed done.
When Coach Gillespie went, you followed pretty much.
Yep.
You were with him for a long time.
Long time.
And you coached receivers at Page.
Yep.
And you played football and baseball both at Farmville Central?
Baseball, basketball,
and
track, and football at Farmville
Central.
Oh,
man. Back then, you were like the fastest guy in the county.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
No doubt about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you did about a 4.5 and a 40?
No, it's about a 4.2.
4.2, yeah. I was being marginal. 4.2. And this man he's gotten bigger now, but this guy back in the day was the fastest man in the county down there. And you were playing baseball at Lewisburg, what, 4 years?
Baseball at Lewisburg, transferred to High Point.
Oh, so Lewisburg was a junior college back then.
Transferred to High Point College, which is now, High Point University. Ran track and played baseball at High Point. All-American in track in 100 and 4x1. And, of course, baseball.
Who was coaching track there back then?
Bob Davison.
Yeah, because he's in the Guilford County Sports Hall. Nobody, I won't say no, but very few people even knew who he was. He got in the Guilford County Sports Hall of Fame, but he did so much at High Point and track. It was phenomenal what he did over there. Crazy phenomenal. Yeah. It didn't hurt you in baseball being a track man because you could steal a few bases probably.
No, I'm probably one of the only few guys that can lead a baseball field in the same year and run track and become All-American. I was the little small Bo Jackson of small college. That's what they say. That's what they called me back then.
Back in the day. What got you interested in doing this videography for the Page football team back then?
Coach G.
He just picked you up?
Yeah, he just called me one day and said, hey, what are you doing? I said, nothing. He said, hey, we got this new thing going on over here at Page. We're going to do a sideline. I was like the NFL? He was like, yeah. I said, it's pretty neat. So went over the set and just started doing it. And it's pretty cool though. It's pretty nice.
And you were usually up in the upper level at Page in the press box during the games.
Up in the box.
And you would film it and you turn it. Who'd you give the?
Well, actually, when it's done, it's already there. Only thing you have to do is just send it to the computer.
Did it go to Huddle?
Yep, went to Huddle, then they'll disperse it to whoever needed it through email.
Wow. Did you ever go back and watch your own work much?
I do.
Yeah.
I do it now.
Yeah, still follow.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
There's a lot of it still out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you about some of these guys you followed back then because we can tribute Page a little bit since they did so good 2011. This guy's now at Page coaching the quarterbacks, James Summers. What do you remember about those James Summers games?
Oh, my God. I mean, one of a kind. That guy was something else. And this happened to wind up in East Carolina. I'm from Greenville, Farmville.
In your backyard.
And got to watch him put that purple and gold on and do what he did. It was exciting to see it all over again. But just to be with him at Page and, coaching receivers, because, I had to have him at the quarterback, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you even probably remember him, too, down in Mississippi at that junior college.
I did.
He tore it up down there,
I saw some games on TV, online with him down there, too.
He was either playing Wednesday or Thursday nights down there. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, what about this kid, Drew Rogers? People forget about Drew. Drew was like James' running back on that championship team. They were together. When they came up, they were almost like bookends. But then James a little bit further, and Drew, I don't know what happened.
Drew Rogers, we called him all day. Kind of like, what was the running back for the Minnesota Vikings?
Chuck Foreman?
No, the one that he ain't retired yet. Adrian
Peterson. Yeah, Peterson.
He ran like Adrian Peterson, and we called him all day.
All day long.
Drew Rogers, all day. He was a great running back.
That's what they used to call us. They called us at the basketball court. They used to call us all night long.
Yep.
A&L, go at it all night long. Even when it got dark. What about, so remember Brian Spain? Remember that catch Brian had the right corner right before halftime that one game? You're playing guys like Butler and Mallard Creek those games?
Yeah, let me tell you, Spain came a long way when he was a freshman, South Point, and all of a sudden he just shot up. And he just took off. So it was amazing to see what that kid, where he started and where he ended up at.
And his dad was a follower too.
Yes, he was. Close. Yes, he was.
What about old DeBrano, Debo Brooks?
Well, Debo's a police officer now.
Yeah, he is, and plus he's doing some coaching at Burlington Williams too.
Yeah, he went to Fayetteville State. Debo, his mom was something else. Now she loves us some Debo.
She did. She kept up with Debo.
Say nothing about Debo. Debo was a hard-nosed player.
What about Ed Britt? He could be a hybrid player. He's kind of like a linebacker and defensive back all rolled into one.
Let me tell you something. Coaching that Page and see all these guys. Of course, his dad coached with us too. at Page, and Britt was one of those hard hitters. I still remember that hit he put on that kid against I want to say, was it Butler, Malley Creek? Oh my goodness gracious!
Might have been one of the Ferguson brothers.
Yes, it was. It was.
Either Riley or
He
his
hit him,
brother.
and he hit him so hard he fumbled it in the air, and I think our DB got it.
Boy, that
picked it up
second
out of there.
half was unreal, wasn't it?
Oh my God! I've never seen anything like that.
Somebody, they always talk about, it might have been James, one of the players stood up at halftime and just made some kind
James
of
did.
talk. He said, and all of a sudden, man, it got everybody's attention. They went back out, man. That was a different team in the second half.
It's like he turned the hat around and said, "Let's go."
Yeah, yeah. And he had Christian Cranford. His dad
Yep,
used to run the
Christian
City
Cranford.
Motors.
Yep.
That was a good one. He went on to play in the ODAC.
Yeah, he went to, I think, Washington Emory?
Washington Lee or something like
Washington
that.
Lee. Yeah.
Then he had that fullback whose mother used to be with Chick-fil-A, Sean Workinger.
Sean Workinger. He went up to Concord.
Yep. And
Concord.
He actually
Played baseball too.
Yeah, he
could
actually
hit
had
it.
a chance to do a little football after college too, because he just kept working. He was very strong in that championship game against Garner too. Had a big championship hard running game. Then he had that receiver transfer from Western Guilford, Orlando Hatfield. Mr.
Orlando
Hatfield.
Hatfield. Yep. I don't know what's going on with Orlando. He went to Winston State. Kind of lost track of Orlando. I'm pretty sure
Had
he's
that
doing okay.
linebacker Blake Hickman.
Remember Blake?
He could put
Blake?
some hits on.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Had that defensive back used to work at CC's Pizza. You see him on
Yep.
Sunday night, Savon Wall.
Yep.
Savon was a good kid. He came a long way because he was just
Savon
like
came from, if I'm not mistaken, came from Richmond County.
he did. He moved up here, and he was one of those guys too. At the first of the season, he was kind of hanging with everybody. He was part of the top 11 on defense, but as the season went on, he became a very good contributor for the team. Had a kid too like Carter Stanley. He was big
Carter.
into it.
That's who, Carter was a good baseball player too. Carter would hit you. Good kid. I haven't seen a lot of those kids. I hope I get to see them a little bit this year.
And another thing too, the backup quarterback who played very well senior, Jordan Putnam.
I remember Putnam. Yeah. Putnam was
tough.
a good kid. I hate, he lost his dad a few years ago.
He
but
sure did. Bruce Putnam was a
yeah,
Southeast
his dad
Guilford
was
football
great.
player.
His
He
dad
passed
was
away.
awesome.
And his grandfather, I remember him too. He was a great man. His mother, Shannon, she was a good lady.
Yep.
Just a good family, the Putnam family. What about teams to watch this year? Who are you looking for this coming season?
Page.
Page?
Yep.
Yeah, you want to keep up with your Pirates, I'm sure.
Yep.
We'll see them improve.
I think they're going to be better than a whole lot of people
You
expect.
think Coach Hand has got these guys headed the right direction?
Hey, that young blood helps a lot. We old now. Don't nobody want to be around no old guys. I'm about to turn 60. Only thing I know is old school, so it's a little bit different era now. So I just think he's going to do a good job of it.
For the Guilford County top 10, I had Page at 7. Bryant had him at 8. So you think that's fair or you think they're higher?
I'm going to be honest with you, I think they're going to be up there, be a little higher.
Tough way to start the season. You got Dudley, then you got Reedsville, then you got Mount Tabor. That's a tough non-conference
I
schedule.
did hear that, on that scrimmage game against Eastern Alamance that Dudley brought their whole team over there and coaching staff. So
Scouting them out.
I've never heard of that before. Maybe he's done it in the past, but I know if I brought my team over there, I'm a little bit like, want to see what's going on, what the buzz is about.
Yeah,
I don't say I'm worried.
Must be some buzz then.
Be some buzz going on.
What about Dudley? I mean, you expect them to be strong again. They lost the
do.
quarterback, but they've got 4 wide receivers, or 3 of those at least have 1,000 yards receiving last year, 2 1,000-yard rushers coming back.
And man, you can go play quarterback for Dudley. They're still going to win.
That used to be when
They got some players over there.
Yeah, back when I played in high school, the quarterback's main responsibility was
Just get the ball.
It's not how you throw the ball, it's how you just hand the ball
just
off.
hand it off
Hand it
and-
off and let them go.
Get that little 10-yard out, little 10-yard in, and just dump it off, and that's what you do.
So you got Grimsley and Dudley, and you mentioned Page is one of your sleepers. Page is a sleeper. Any other schools you look for in the county, kind of some surprise teams out there to watch out for?
Well, of course, Greensboro. I mean, Grimsley, they're going to be right there. They got some great athletes over there.
What about you guys over
It's-
to Andrews?
I talked to Coach Jenkins the other day. I think he's going to do okay.
He lost his quarterback.
Yeah.
He went down to
He
Fayetteville State. He's a linebacker. Devin Hackstall's a linebacker at Fayetteville State now, and he lost his running back. Corey McManus is over at A&T.
I know he got 2 kids over there that can absolutely fly.
Yeah. He's got some track, man.
Yes. So if he gets those guys the ball and they get, to do their thing, they're going to be tough. But then you got to switch around and play defense. So I don't know what the defense. Offense probably going to be okay, but defense got to stop somebody.
Who were some guys at Andrews, players that were there when you were there that you kind of remember?
Oh, I coached 3 years of receivers there too. So we had Raynard, had
The quarterback, Lamar Raynard,
yeah,
Lamar
had
Raynard, and also Markel Cartwright. Boy,
Yeah,
Cartwright was my man.
Cartwright.
That guy could run
We've
that
had
football.
a kid, Ray, I forget, last name Ray, man, and Coach Clark was talking about him the other day. He left us his junior year and went to Georgia. Big time kid, about 6'6", 320. Wound up going to Bethune-Cookman. Dashawn Ray, that was the name. He was a good kid. But we had some good kids over there when I was over there, Andrew.
Lamar Raynard, that quarterback, he went
Yeah,
to
Lamar was pretty good.
he went to A&T, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And so did Markel
Got
Cartwright.
about every record over there.
Yeah,
Cartwright too.
Last time I saw Cartwright was on Summit Avenue about 10 years ago. He was driving an old car to a convenience store gas station. He still remember being on Football and Focus on these shows.
Cartwright probably still driving that old car.
Probably is. Cartwright's a tough dude.
Yeah, he ain't one of them fancy guys. He's just Cartwright.
Yeah, just getting the job done.
What we say, can't get right, Cartwright.
So back when Page was going on, High Point Andrews was going on, back in your High Point Andrews days, was the tradition kind of still there when Coach McCoy was there?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It's still there now. It's just the fact that, you got Central and Southwest, depends on what the kids, whoever's doing good. Oh, I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Because,
Whoever's
Andrews
hot.
in that choice zone where kids get to pick where they go to school at. I don't know if it's still like that now. Could be. But that was kind of like the fall of Andrews. Whoever's doing good, at that time, that's where the kids went.
Tell you one thing, back in the day when Coach Herb Goins was there, man, they were on top of the game, and Coach McCoy on top of the game. And we talked about that guy too, Craig Gill, when he was there, man. You did not look, if you look wrong, man, he would kick your butt and get you straightened out.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Gill was one of my favorites,
They need that kind of discipline this time, I think.
He was a great guy.
Because you told me that day, you gave me a good example that we can't talk about some things you told me the other day, but you said nowadays the kids, if you say, hey, John, come on over, man. You doing okay? Can you just come on over? Let's get this done. You stand right here, okay? But you got to talk to these kids differently now.
Yeah, sometimes you got to use an adjective, and they look at you and say, "Okay, coach."
They're there.
You hate. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I guess that's why the stuff that happened at Southern Alabama with Coach
Hessethar.
That's the
and I still can't find where he's coaching. You talked about him being up in
I thought he
I
was
looked
at
him up on
McMichael
Moorhead, McMichael.
Eden Moorhead.
I go to
he's somewhere.
I go to
know
Max
he
Preps.
is.
I type these names in because I look for the coaches. You get the roster. I go for the staff.
I guarantee you, after we get through this, here, somebody's going to call.
We got to find Coach Hessethar somewhere.
He was.
Because I know Coach Bill Slayton's wife, Ms. Darcy Slayton. She always asks. I talk to her. I call her about once a month. So Ms. Slayton's doing in honor of Coach Bill Slayton, former Southeast Guilford Stadium named after him. She always says, "Where's Coach Frizz? What's he
me and
doing?"
Coach G talked about Coach Frizz the other day. Hey, they like he.
Well, if I had an offensive line opening and he wanted to coach, I'd say, hey man, he would be on my squad, my staff last week.
It's a little different era now with kids now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sit back and watch now. It's hard to kind of.
I still like to see the kids nowadays that like that. They like that discipline, that attention. They're harder to find.
I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed because it's a big issue. When it comes.
When you're breaking down a game, because you did all that videography work, now you're gonna be breaking down the games to me this year. You broadcast it. What are some of the things you're looking for? Because you played it, you were fast, you saw these runners, these guys, these receivers, you coached receivers. What are some things you're looking for?
Who can get to the ball, who has that IQ, who don't make mistakes, who stay in their lanes, where you're supposed to be. Because most of the time when stuff happens, it's because you're not doing what the coach asks you to do. You go out there and fly around and think, oh, it's just like this Pop Warner. Instead of staying, to detail. That's why you run through your stuff Monday through Wednesday, and you do walkthroughs on Thursday, and you play on Friday. So if you lose your assignments,
It's almost like the coach we had in high school. I used to be on that kickoff team. They always put me in the middle. So your job is go down and just tear the whole building down. And I'd do that. But a lot of times I like to break out of that system and go find the ball. And the coach's thing was, we huddle before the kickoff. Straight down your lanes, don't be fooled, ready to break. Straight, don't leave your lanes, go down your lanes. And if you leave those lanes, the problem is, somebody told me this the other day, they repeated say, one of my old buddies watching the sports said, film don't lie.
No.
Film don't lie. You get there Monday afternoon watching that film, they see you getting out of the lane.
Why
and they've already seen it before you get there. The coaches watch that film.
That's why the sideline camera.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Film
When we
don't
first
lie.
got it, we had some kids, they'd be like, I got that block. No, you didn't. And then you come up with the iPad, and you're like, you can't, what are you going to do?
Oh, you got it.
So that's a good.
What I love back in the day was I'd go home. Oh, man, this stuff got to me. I would go home on the weekends. I'd be worried, wonder how I did. Because you don't remember. You just did your job. Hope you did it right. You'd be worried about that Monday film session. After practice, go lay down in the gym, be watching that crazy old little projector going around.
When I was at Page and I was over receivers, they gave us discs. So we'll get the discs, one of the guys on the staff, he was, Jeremy, would break it all down. We'd get like 16 discs. We got so many coaches. And I got to go home on Saturday and put that disc in. I had to get a DVD player. Yeah. So I put it in, and I sit there all day Saturday and grade the film on my receivers. Then take the other film that we get and grade it for what we're going to have our coaches meeting on Sunday. So that's tough, based on, what you got to do. It's just It just don't stop on
A lot of
Friday.
input, and
Yes.
you look around sometimes and check
Yes.
out the output, and the output
Yes.
doesn't seem to meet the input, but there's a lot of work
Yes.
to be done. So you'll be watching, make sure these kids, guys like, just quickly, I'm not trying to put guys on a pedestal or emulate them too much, but guys like Nasir Newkirk over at Dudley, number 1 in the class at Dudley.
Is that the kid that was at Page and went over there?
Nah, the kid that was Page was John Blackwell.
Okay.
Blackwell. But Newkirk's been there. But Newkirk's in the class, and a guy like Cordell Bartley, who's like number 2 or 3 in the class, you expect guys like that to have it figured out and do it the right way.
Well, they're like really hard to recruit it, right?
Oh yeah, Newkirk's
So,
going to Liberty,
that's what I'm
and
saying,
Bartley's
so-
going, I think, South Florida maybe.
So
Yeah.
that's why those guys are in that position.
why they got those
because
jobs.
Pay attention to detail.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And Neely's going to the old Howard
Yeah,
University.
he's going to Howard.
Howard,
Well, you know,
yeah.
Howard just got a quarterback from somewhere in Florida that's pretty dang good, and or Alabama, from wherever he comes from. So, hey, Howard ain't no.
They had a good one at one time out of Southern Guilford. Jamie Cunningham, he was up there. Cunningham was a darn good quarterback for Howard back in the
Howard
day.
won the MEAC last year. I think they won it over Central.
Yeah, that's not
You know?
bad.
So when I saw that, I was like, Howard. And then I saw the other kid. I was like, you got something going on down at Howard. They ain't coming to A&T.
What's your son doing these days? Let's get a shout out to Randy Norris Jr.
Randy is doing well. He's working for a company that does fundraisers called
man.
We. He's giving lessons down in Charlotte, and he's also coaching the travel ball team. I think he coached one of the national teams, and they're going to Jupiter in November, and he's just got a job at Charlotte Country Day. So he's doing
Assistant coach?
I think he's the head JV coach.
HJV coach.
Yeah, and then he's gonna, he's just getting into it. And I think he's gonna help a lot on varsity. So it won't be too long before he wind up a head coach.
And his
You know,
road
he's doing what he want to do, and I'm proud of him.
His road was Andrews and to Dudley, then Winston-Salem State.
A lot of people don't know that he graduated from Dudley.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
he did pretty well over there.
And Winston-Salem State, he was there right before they shut down the program.
Yep, he's doing good. We're proud of
And
him.
when they're going to Jupiter, just to clarify, if anybody make this tuned in late, Jupiter is when they're going to Florida,
Yes,
not going to the other
12,
out of
12-year-olds that look like grown men.
Yeah, that's a good complex down there too.
Yeah.
A lot of good baseball played in Jupiter. A lot of good those spring training sites down there. Those stadiums are big down there.
I hate it. I'm gonna miss that game next week. God Almighty.
Yeah, but you'll be going to Williamsport.
Yeah, me and my son were
Pennsylvania.
going to see the Little League World Series, and then I think I missed one more with you.
missed
I'm going
one.
to see Caitlin Clark play
Yeah,
in Indianapolis. So
saw her
that's
on
gonna be fun.
saw her on Facebook today. She's always
Yep.
doing something. She's got
Yeah,
something going on all the
that's
time.
gonna
Caitlin
be
Clark.
pretty neat. Gonna be sitting on the floor.
Nothing fancy about Caitlin Clark. She just does the job, gets the job done. Love to
See,
watch her
that
play.
old school play.
Yeah,
She's that's that type of player that was in the backyard with the goal and just dribble, shoot,
yeah.
shoot free throws, shoot from way out there.
Coming off those imaginary picks.
Yep.
Shooting that basketball.
Yep.
You gotta have those
I ain't
imaginary
mad at her.
picks.
I like
No. I wish she would have been on the Olympic team. I'm kind of glad she wasn't because she had a good break there.
Her and Reese, they'll be there next year. A couple of them young ladies, they'll be there next
Oh
year.
yeah, they'll be there before it's all
I'm
said.
anxious. I'm
I
anxious
think
to see
Brittany
that.
Griner won't be there though. I think Brittany's on the way.
Oh,
out.
you know, age sometimes catches up with you. You
Yep.
just can't go as
Yep,
much as you
like
used
you
to.
did. Dawn Stowe was a pretty tough coach too. That's a
Yeah.
tough woman. She got her job done. Well, Coach Norris, good to have you with us tonight.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see you soon, and we'll have you on that second game of the season. We got, I think it's going to be Dudley and Southeast Guilford. Going to be at Dudley. You'll be there for that.
Oh
night,
yes,
and you'll
oh
be
yes, oh yes.
Full steam ahead on Greensboro Sports and Greensboro Sports. And you follow the website pretty closely too.
I follow it every day. It's not a day I don't go by that I'm not looking at something on Greensboro Sports. I'm kind of like in depth with the
Yeah.
the things.
been
you
for
do
a
a lot.
long
You do a
time.
good, you do a good job around
You
here.
did a lot of baseball games with us
Oh,
too
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
that's where you cut
I'm
your
glad
teeth.
you gave me a call because I ain't got nothing else to do. So Coach G left. I said I'm leaving with you.
Yeah.
So this is
As long as
my
he's not
next-
doing anything, you're
Yep.
available.
Yep, I am.
You followed some wild footsteps too. I would say good footsteps. Over the years, we had last season. Niall Harris was the commentary man. Don Tilley commentary. Then we had Dennis White. Remember I talked to him the
I
other
actually
day.
listened to y'all when I was going to Tennessee last year. When y'all up in Hickory. I listened to.
Wow.
I was listening to it on the radio. I was going to up in a cabin. We had a cabin up in Tennessee, and I was going up there, and I was listening to you on the road because I couldn't get it on NFF. Something kept happening. I was like, I'm just going to turn to Greensboro Sport.
Yeah. And picked it up. And
Yep.
the other guys we had over the years, we had Big Jim Modlin back in the
Yep.
day. Big Jim out of Ragsdale.
remember.
He was a big man back in the day. And it's been an interesting trip over the years. Interesting
Yep.
trip. Now, a new chapter this year, Coach Randy Norris, senior, be with us broadcasting this season. That's going to wrap it up pretty much for the night at Teed Up Indoors. We thank Natalie for having us in tonight. She's on the phone right now. Davis Choxter is the owner here. We thank Davis for the good work he does. He's also got the North Carolina Golf Academy out on Highway 68, which they now call Eastchester. Don't want to get that wrong, but it's always 68 when I drove through over the years. Drove by there yesterday, going to High Point. Thanks to Don Moore, who's our man who puts all this together, our man who's in charge of all the technician, all the technical work. Don Moore does a great job at Greensboro Sports, has done that for years. On behalf of Coach Norris, Brian Roche, and all the people that watch us and follow us, we thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on GreensboroSports.com, Greensboro Sports Radio. Most importantly, keep the football in focus.